Welcome, welcome to all the viewers. Welcome to John Sir, John Hemanth Kumar. So, hi. So I am Rakesh. I am an educator, and I have with me John Hemanth Kumar Sir. Is my mentor, and he's a psychologist. So we thought we'll do an introductory video. So we'll just ask few questions, and John Sir can share your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So I have this question, like we have this Piyush Home Learning Solutions. So we just thought we will go through those terms one by one, like what is learning? We'll start with that. It's your favorite question.
Right. Learning is to know. And learning to know what you don't know is learning. So generally when we ask what is learning, people try to give all kinds of definitions and all. The logic is very simple. What you don't know, you try to know, that is learning. It could be anything under the sun at any age, because learning happens from the womb till the tomb. So right from the time the baby is formed in the womb, the whole process of 9 months is a learning process. And it will end when the person dies. That is why it is aptly termed from womb to tomb. Learning is constantly happening.
Yes, sir, that's true. So I like that statement, learning is from womb to tomb.
Yeah.
And we also learn to adapt to situations and thrive, or we can learn not to adapt to situations and struggle to survive. So it's all about learning. So like, for example, we learn to commit crimes, or we learn to solve social problems. So we also need to learn to unlearn the unwholesome way of life and learn the wholesome way of life. So now coming to the second question, sir, what makes a home?
See, a home is a place where learning is constantly happening. Home can also be the school if it is an environment that is prepared like a home, or the world outside, which is also a home, because most of the time we spend outside. Children spend a lot of time in school, except for these pandemic days where it is restricted. But the best part is the early childhood, right from the womb till the child completes 6 years. Most of the time is spent at home. So it is imperative that the home environment is properly planned and created in such a way, we call it as a preparation. We prepare the home environment in such a way that it becomes conducive for the learning. In a school, there is a curriculum, there is a teacher, there is a system, there is a pro forma as to how to go about with the learning. It is an organized sector. But in a home, where constantly the child is learning from the environment in the home, from the gadgets in the home, from the people in the home, and different situations that prompt the child to pick up whatever he can to learn. It is automatic, it is natural, it is constant. The learning is constantly happening. That is why the home plays a very important and a very dominant role as far as learning is concerned. So home is mostly a place where learning is also happening in addition to the so-called school.
True, sir. Home is a place where children learn.
Yeah.
Children learn how to love, how to respect each other, and receive constructive criticism, where there is no comparisons of in a destructive way. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that.
Yeah, but all these points, what you mentioned, happens only if that kind of a environment is created in the home, where the child knows what love is, what compassion is, what empathy is, what communication is. All these things, it is important that in the home should have the environment planned and prepared well.
True, sir.
Yeah.
So why home learning, sir? When the child can go to school and learn, why do we have this home learning?
See, in the olden times, we had this gruha, like, the teacher was always the mother. The first 5 years, the child will learn a lot of things before he goes to his guru after completing 5 years. The same trend, because most of the women or the adult who is supposed to take care of the child are also working people, or maybe they are involved in other activities because of which they are not able to focus or give time and attention to the child, which is very, very important, because the first 6 years of the child's life, where the brain is constantly growing at an extremely fast pace, which cannot be fathomed, learning is happening voraciously. And if this voracious period of learning is not properly caught on, and it is not properly monitored, and if it is not properly, the inputs are not given, then the very precious time of the child passes away and it will never come back. So what we realize is, in earlier days, right from the time a child becomes 2.5 years, 3 years, they'll pack him off to the school, hoping that he will learn to socialize and he will learn to do a lot of other learning, academic learnings and all in the school. But after the pandemic, we realized that the child has to spend more time at home, less time in school. And even if in the school, it is an organized program where individual attention might not happen. So while the child is at home, in spite of going to the school also, maximum almost 90 to 95% of the time the child is spending at home. So the home environment has to be properly organized. The moment we say home learning, it is not that it is in place of the school. School has its own job to do. Home has its own job to do. In between, the child is constantly learning whether we create any environment or not. Whatever is available, it is like a sponge. The child absorbs whatever comes up in his way, and that becomes part of his life. So it's important that we monitor, we observe, we study, and create the environment, rather prepare the environment such that it is conducive for the learning of the child. So if you want the child to be very loving, compassionate, and have all those good moral qualities, an ambience has to be created in the home, because of which the child will be able to implement them well. If you want the child to become a technical guy, where a lot of technology is today's domain, he has to be given such kind of an environment where technology can become his part of life. But most important thing is, whatever may be the career, profession, life, how it's going to be, it is the life skills that matter a lot in the child. Independently, he should be able to do things on his own, especially about his self-care, about the environmental care, and have anything in such a way that, when there is a crisis situation, he should be able to jump in and do the required stuff. Like, for example, if he doesn't have food and he is very hungry, he should be able to whip up something, a snack or something, and that is a skill. If housekeeping is not clean and he has to do some housekeeping, he should be able to ready to jump in and do the housekeeping. Now, all these are life skills, and these life skills, maximum to maximum, they are mastered while at home. That is why the home learning involves a lot of personal care, environmental care, care of the people, society, and also learning whatever they're learning in an organized way. Sometimes it is unorganized way also. But when planned and prepared well, a few hours can be devoted for planned environmental learning. That is why it is very important that home learning should be focused on child's developmental programs, which earlier was done by parents and grandparents who had a lot of time. They had a lot of guidelines to be given from the other family members. But in today's world, more of nuclear families and more influenced by the media or through the gadgets, which is very distorted information, which is not appropriate. So it becomes very imperative that you plan a program properly and see that a child is given the opportunity to develop himself in a phased and a systematic manner. Like, for example, language, a very important part of development. If it is properly organized, the child can master lots of languages very comfortably. Similarly, if the motor coordination, hand and eye coordination, hand and mouth coordination, whatever activities he does, if it is properly planned and if he implements them, it becomes a skill. He masters the skill, and these skills become very important for him to sustain himself in the future, where it is so uncertain, so improbable that life after 10 years, when the child grows up, can be very challenging, and your child needs to be very comfortable and sustain himself. So home learning goes in that direction, where we prepare our child, because it is our responsibility as a parent to create the environment conducive for learning and help our child to pick up a lot of learning.
Thank you, sir. As you rightly said, children are always learning, and we need both the home and the school environment prepared for the child, so that the child absorbs wholesome things in the environment and grows to become a happy and peaceful adult tomorrow. Thank you very much for that, sir. And there are studies which indicate that family engagement is essential for the child's overall development. So that is also an aspect we have to look into.
Yes.
When we have to answer this question, why?
But the family also requires orientation and guidelines as to how to go about reaching out to the child, because randomly trying to do whatever comes up in their mind is not advisable. True. It is something like a parent can always pick up toys from a toy shop because it looks attractive to the parent, but that need not be a very useful and a developmental material for the child for his progress. So such kind of orientations where the parents are guided and advised as to how they can go about purchasing the right development materials, we call learning and teaching and learning materials, with which the child is able to learn things which are necessary for his progress and his sustainability, rather than randomly trying to do whatever he wants to.
True, sir.
Yeah.
So the responsibility of the child's learning lies with both the school and the adults at home.
Primarily, it is adults at home. The first 6 years, because the child's brain grows almost 90% in comparison to an adult brain. So what goes into the child's brain matters a lot for the rest of his life. And because the first 6 years, he's spending more time at home. Like, for example, the 9 months in the womb and the 3 years before going to school, he's totally at home. And that is the most precious period for learning, where 100% learning is at a very high peak. And from 3 years to 6 years, he's spending the time in school for a couple of hours or 2 to 3 hours per day. But rest of the time, again, he's back at home. Since majority, almost 80 to 85% of the time, he is at home after 3 to 6 years age group, and the rest of the time is 100% at home. It is necessary that one has to plan properly what the child is doing, how he is doing, and how that learning that is happening under supervision or monitoring, or even the freedom and independence that we give, whether it is helpful for his life or not.
True, sir. So definitely parents need guidance in this regard.
Yes.
Like how to prepare the environment at home.
Yes.
It's conducive.
Like how we have the teacher training programs and teacher orientation programs in school periodically to upgrade the teachers for their knowledge and skills. Same thing with the parents. Parents also need orientations and training and guidelines as to how to take care of their kids.
Yes, sir. Our aim should be to encourage joyful learning in children, so that they become lifelong learners.
Yes.
Later in life.
Yeah.
So we'll be happy to help any parents or teachers if they want to know, if they want to take guidance on how to prepare the environment for the child.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Take care, sir. Thank you.